How do you make a living from your work?
That's a good question. The short answer is I almost don't make a living from my work, but sometimes I get by.
Right, yeah. So obviously you've talked about people vandalising your work before. When you've been building structures similar to these, has anyone knocked it down before it was finished?
No, I've knocked accidentally, like once or twice, a long time ago, knocked down my own structure in the process of building. Nobody's knocked down the structure before it's finished, but there have been some occasions once it's done when somebody's knocked down the structure.
So when you
Do you want to hear any of those stories?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
There's one that I can't repeat on camera, but one time in Japan, I built 3 spherical structures that were interlinked or interlocked, and this architecture student and his girlfriend, who was caught on security camera, he was standing in the gallery with his girlfriend, and he said, "Of course it's glued together, yank." Kind of pulled it and the whole thing fell down.
Was it big?
It wasn't such a big, it was about this size actually, but it was three spheres.
Oh, okay.
And I heard later that she did dump him.
So.
And another time a guy with Down syndrome walked into the exhibition space and just kind of was overwhelmed with emotion and just ran up and grabbed the thing and knocked it down, you know.
Right, yeah. So obviously you're used to making these type of structures and being very precise, but how are you so patient with it?
I know that there is patience there, and that's what people have said that before. Oh, you must have a lot of patience, but it's more about trying to see the thing realised. You know, it takes a lot of time, so there has to be an element of patience. But my kind of drive is to see what it looks like once the last stick's on. That's then and then also I've finished my job. I've done the thing that I thought I could do. I've done it. Put the last stick on, step back, and it's finished. And the thing is, of course, here today, the students were helping, or this is their piece, not mine. Eh? So we together we create collectively or cooperatively we created a piece. But in normal circumstances, it's just me. So nobody else is going to do it for me. You know,
yeah.
I'm not. My standard of living is not so high that I can just pay other people to do it for me. And so I have to do it. So it's more kind of pushing myself to finish rather than having that patience.
Yeah.
Although that does exist and come into it.
Yeah. So many people have inspirations. Many artists have inspirations about the work that they do. What's your inspiration for the work that you do?
It's hard to say what the inspiration was. Because I'm not, like if this was my structure, I wouldn't say that I was inspired to make the structure because of. Maybe the space in each individual case, if it's inspiration, we're talking about each individual space that I come to visit does inspire me to try and do a certain thing. So it would be the space, the opportunity to sort of command the space with a structure, which you can do on a large scale quite easily because it's temporary. So in that case, I'm inspired by the space that I want to fill with something.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have another artist that inspires you, maybe, that you look up to?
Well, that's a kind of tricky question because there's so many artists. Artists that I've been whose work I like and so on are not necessarily names that you would know. There's a woman, Emma Herman Smith. She died of cancer. There's another artist, a German artist, Lisa Lucas. She died of cancer. So there's many artists that you're kind of I don't know if inspired is the right word, but you see what they're doing. You think, my God. They're really doing something fantastic, and then I should try and do something, that I feel is as good as them, sort of thing. But one of the artists that I really liked a long time ago, and I still like, is a guy called Roman Signar. He's a Swiss artist, Swiss Pole. I think he's Swiss, but he studied in Poland and stuff. He's no longer alive, but he made a lot of things that burn or explode or fall over. He did this really great installation in this house somewhere in the Alps, his empty house with loads of windows, and he set up all these chairs inside the rooms, and he's got an explosive button, and all these the doors, the wooden window doors open, and then all these chairs there's an explosion, all these chairs just come flying out the windows, and then just crash to the ground, you know. So that sort of when I saw that, I thought, okay, you know, it's okay. I was already building collapsing structures, but when you see that there's another artist that's had a very, very long career and a long body of work doing that sort of thing, that kind of.
Many people have their meaning for art, and you know, they have stories behind what they do, and you know, they just have like a meaning behind it. Do you have any meaning behind any of your work that you do?
Well, there's a meaning behind this process of building up and then collapsing down again. But if there is a meaning, if I have a sort of meaning to my work, it's more kind of it's more a kind of personal thing for me to think about privately to myself. Not keeping any secrets or anything, but just the reason I'm doing it for my own personal, what it means to me is not necessarily what it means to other people. So it's not like I've got a meaning that I'm just trying to then convey to other people, to the audience or whatever, so that they can think the same way as me or understand what I'm thinking about. That's not really why I'm doing it. You know?
So
not so much.
Putting aside like people who view your art, personally to you, what does art mean to you personally?
What does art mean to me? I'm not sure what you mean by that question. What does it mean to me? It means
maybe on like a personal level. Is it like something? Maybe throughout your life, maybe you've seen art as something else, something that has a lot of meaning to you.
Yeah. Well, so going back in time to prehistoric times when there was these cave paintings and so on and so forth, there were certain things that were really important, and obviously, you know, surviving and feeding yourself and so on. But there was also art was, you know, trying to. I think in the olden days, basically these prehistoric artists were trying to figure out the world that they lived in. So they would, you know, nobody knows, but they're doing a painting of a bison on a cave with some spears going into it, because they're hoping that they can control their food source and their survival and so on and so forth. So art was a really important element for all human beings. At some point, there's different art, prehistoric art all over the world, and I believe that that's still the case. Art allows you to give meaning to your life and to try and understand the world in some way. So, like if I'm building up this structure, if it's me building up the structure and knocking it down, you might think about the sort of the cycle of life and death, or the coming and going of the tide or something. You know, there's a positive and a negative. There's an up and a down, all this sort of thing. You know, so. What was the question again?
What does art mean to you?
What does art mean to me? It means it's a way of engaging and understanding the world.
Yeah.
In whatever way that is. It doesn't have to be building a structure or painting a picture. Art's a fairly broad church these days. You know.
It could be many meanings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's it for the questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.